Hi there, I'm Jenn Cassetta, your Chief Badassery Officer. If you're feeling drained, hesitant, stuck in self-doubt, or you just have a case of the vlogs, the Art of Badassery podcast is here to help you unleash your mojo once and for all. We'll provide you with tips, techniques, and real-life examples of how you can kick ass in all areas of your life. You'll learn how to flex your mental muscles, rise above fears, and turn setbacks into superpowers. So let's enter the dojo and let's get to work. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Badassery podcast. I'm Jenn Cassetta, your Chief Badassery Officer, and today is another solo episode, a little boost of badassery for wherever you're at. I just want to help make your day even better and spread some of this really exciting energy that I have as a leftover effect of a retreat that I went on, a 7-day retreat with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And that is what I'm going to share with you, the results, the effect, kind of what it was about, and just really why I'm excited about this work right now. But before I get into that, I wanted to also share with you that I have my very first Art of Badassery retreat coming up. The dates are October 10th through 13th in Montauk, New York. If you have never heard of Montauk or don't know where it is, I'm sure you've heard of the Hamptons. This is at the very end of Long Island, the last town before you just sail out into the Atlantic and head towards Europe. So it's out there. It's nicknamed the End because it's the end of Long Island. And it's really one of my favorite places on earth. Truly, it's beautiful. And that time of year, the crowds have gone, or at least dispersed. It's crisp and cool in the air, yet sometimes the ocean is warm enough to jump in. It's going to be a 3-night, so kind of like 3 days, 3 nights event where we are going to be filled with martial arts movement. So think both soft and hard styles of martial arts. I wanted you to experience both of those. So the soft is like Tai Chi, where there's slower movements, where you sync your breath to the movements. There's many benefits from there, basically similar to meditation. So lowering blood pressure, lowering stress levels, lowering stress hormones throughout the body, and downregulating your nervous system. We are also going to do some sitting meditation as well, but really moving meditations, the majority of it. And like I said, that hard style too. So we'll kick, we'll punch, we'll get the heart rate going. And I'm going to teach you a little bit of basic self-defense there too, because why not? We have 3 days, so we might as well. It starts on a Thursday night with a group dinner. All the dinners are going to be at the resort. The resort is called Soleil East. It's a beautiful place. Check it out online. And during these group meals together, we're going to be having kind of guided conversations on different aspects of the Art of Badassery framework. So we'll talk about how we build resilience. We'll share stories. We'll share about how we bounce back, set boundaries, use our voice powerfully, health and wellness, self-care, talking about our chi and our energy, as well as how we go within and start to trust ourselves more and trust our intuition. And then lastly, black belt level, as you know, is all about being a black belt leader in this world, in your communities. So really cool conversations. We'll end with a bang. I'll save that surprise for later. There'll be some gifts. I'm curating a really cool gift bag. And get this. This is actually a story I wanted to share with you, how it happened. But essentially, I'm having a women-owned biohacking showroom come out to Montauk and do a pop-up just for us. So essentially, they're going to be bringing biohacking equipment, tools for us to try out, after our workouts. People keep asking me, what is biohacking? It's something that I thought everyone kind of knew or had an idea about at this point, but I am getting that it is not that commonplace just yet. So biohacking could be described just as technology, machines, etc., that do a variety of different things. But I would say the main goal of a lot of the biohacking machines out there is for longevity. So to help you live a longer, healthier life and better quality of life, as well as helping you recover quickly from workouts, etc. Also to help you heal more quickly. So heal from really any type of ailments. I recently had the experience of checking out a biocharger. I feel like I could do a whole new episode on that. But thanks to my new friend that was at the Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat, who I met, she hooked me up with a biocharger session here in Santa Monica last week, and it was wild. It was really cool. Anyway, sorry. Sidebar. Let's get back to the story. So during this retreat I was at, a woman reached out to me after 20 years. Right? I met her 20 years ago in New York City at a program called Ladies Who Launch. And we really haven't been in touch since. Through social media, yes. But she reached out to just say, like, check in and likes what I'm doing out there, and to share about her biohacking showroom in New York, in Westchester, New York, very close to where I grew up. I thought that was so, so cool. So, with that said, it turns out that she and her partner, so Lindsay O'Neill and Yelly, are going to be coming out to the Montauk retreat, like I said, and doing a pop-up for us. So that was a really beautiful synchronicity, which I'll be talking about in a little bit, that happened just in the last couple of weeks. So if you are even interested in learning what biohacking is, if you just are interested in how you can live longer and healthier, come to the retreat, check this stuff out, or just look up Wellness Eternal for now and head to Lindsay and Yelly's website so you can check out Wellness Eternal and what kind of biohacking machines and technology that they have at their showroom. And you could even make an appointment and go there. Ooh, that was a little commercial for them. So, with that said, I'd love to have you at the retreat. I'm about 75% of the way full right now. And today I'm recording this August 13th. It'll probably come out in September. So it might be sold out, but you never know. So if you're interested in the Art of Badassery retreat, make sure you go to my website immediately, jennifercassetta.com. Go to the contact page, send me an email as quick as possible. All of the information of all the details, all the pricing, etc., is on my website as well. Under the blog section, you'll see the Art of Badassery retreat in Montauk. The dates, again, are October 10th through 13th. And just a little, I don't know, thing to share with you. October 10th is my birthday, so I will be sharing it with all of you that come to the retreat, and I can't wait. Okay, back to business. We are about to dive in to the biggest takeaways that I had at this truly life-changing event. I recently attended the Dr. Joe Dispenza 7-day advanced retreat. And I came back with a whole new perspective on life. And just to put this out there, like, I've done a lot of work in the self-help, in the personal development work, meaning I've attended tons of different seminars and had really aha moments and life-changing moments. But this to date has been the most incredible, eye-opening, and, not to overuse the word, but transformational experience of my life. And I can't even say that enough with enough heartfelt emotion behind it, because it's so, so true. I've even waited to record this podcast for a few weeks since I got home because I'm still processing the information I learned. I'm still processing the experiences I've had and just putting words to things that really are hard to explain to other people who haven't experienced it. So, first of all, if you ever have been to a Dr. Joe event, please message me. Please reach out, because I love now speaking to people who know exactly what I'm talking about. And I want to expand my community in that way. So the first major takeaway, I actually asked some of my new girlfriends that I met at the retreat what their takeaways were as well. And one of them had the same takeaway as me. So the first pretty basic takeaway, right? You're going to be like, oh, okay. But seriously, this is a big one for a lot of people is that you can make new friends as an adult. And I'm talking like lifelong friends, deep connections with people. I have just been seeing way too much messaging out there. Again, it's social media. I know everyone has an opinion about something, but I keep seeing how people think it's so hard to make friends as an adult. And I really would love anyone out there that has that limiting belief to question it and share with me or share out loud, what are you doing really to work at making friends? Because yes, you do have to work at it. And one of the major ways to make new friends is putting yourself in situations and experiences and locations and gatherings with like-minded people, people that are looking for the same things for you as you, want the same experiences, are doing more work, etc. So for me, it's right. I'm really attracted to seekers, people that are looking to self-improve all the time. So, and it wasn't forced. It was so natural. The first day I sat next to one woman, poof, we hit it off. Someone sat in between us, poof, the three of us hit it off. The next day I sat next to another woman, poof, we hit it off. She had a friend that was, she was doing an experiment with, so had to sit next to, poof, we hit it off. Next thing you know, there's 5 of us that all came to this retreat alone, all from different parts of the country that are now friends. And now we have a WhatsApp group that we still are in communication as often as we want. We're going to set up monthly Zooms so we can keep these conversations going. And I've already seen one of the women in person, believe it or not. And there's talks of us all getting together as a group soon as well. So I'd like to put that out there just as inspiration, especially for those of you who feel like it's really hard to make friends as an adult. Get yourself out there, find similar things, things that you're interested in. I don't care if it's knitting, right? Find a knitting group and go and hang out and don't just show up once and go, oh, that didn't work. I didn't really meet anyone. You got to keep showing up to these things sometimes. People like to see that you're committed to the group. People like consistency, right? And you got to put yourself out there a little bit. You got to chat people up, have conversations, take that chance. And you just never know who's listening. You never know who you can connect with and where that friendship can lead to over days, months, and even years and decades to come. So I'm so excited. I really love meeting new people and especially women, like I said, that are like-minded and seekers. And I have just such a wonderful group now because of that. The second biggest takeaway from the retreat, uh, again, I'm looking for the right words to really explain it. But essentially that meditation is the key to experiencing the universe. Meditation is the key, period. Yes, I've been meditating for 6-ish years, daily practice. I, talk about it constantly on this podcast. I know, even with all my guests, but I can't say enough now. It's almost like I've doubled down infinity on how important it truly is. When I was just taking notes, again, this podcast today is really off the cuff. But I just scribbled down some notes and remembered that there's this quote by Rumi: "Do not feel lonely. The entire universe is inside you." It really is. And during the meditation retreat, I really got to experience that firsthand. Where do I even begin? So a lot of Dr. Joe's teachings is to help you get to a place where you forget about your body, right? So think about that first of all, just to get beyond your body and its needs, to sit in a meditation, to try and turn off your analytical brain, right? The thinking part. That's so difficult. But even just the body, let's start with the body. You're sitting there, your back might hurt, you have an itch on your face. Your body's calling, saying, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to get up. I'm hungry. I want a snack, right? All of these things that, like our hormones are really running the show. So we have to tame them, and that could take time and that takes practice. Dr. Joe, says like our body is like an animal and we have to tame it to sit and to stay and to overcome it, right? Overcome the body. Then we have to overcome our thoughts because we want to get to a place where our mind isn't running the show. So the body's running the show, the mind's running the show, the thoughts are going, and we're thinking about yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's anxieties and all the things that we have to get done today. No, all of that has to go. So the point of his meditations is really to get you to a place where there is no time, you have no body, there is no space, no time, no body, in nowhere, right? No location. You're just in blackness, void, space. So if you ever tried his meditations, you're like, what is this guy talking about? What is going on? That is the point, to get you to that place. Because when you can get to that place, and he goes into all of the science as well, which is really one of the biggest bonuses of his work, is he really combines and teaches you what you're doing, right? The science behind it. He'll bring in data. He'll teach you about brain waves. So one of those other things you're doing is you're getting out of high beta frequency brain waves where, which is waking state and stress, right? High beta is stress, stress, stress. You're running around stress all day. Then there's middle and lower beta as well, which is kind of like normal waking state. And then if you can dip down into alpha brain waves where they become a bit slower, this is where most people get to in meditation and get to, kind of before you're drifting off to sleep or when you wake up first thing in the morning. Those are really good times to meditate as well because naturally your brain waves have slowed down. But then there's theta, and that's a really, really deep level. And I, again, believe that a lot of us can reach those levels in his meditations. And I sure did that I think, I can guess I did in a lot of those meditations. But I even went beyond that. And at the risk of sounding a little nutty, there was a meditation that I experienced where my head started to move on its own and circle big circles, medium circles, small circles, until it was just like vibrating on its own. Kind of like an antenna, you know, getting straighter and straighter and straighter and just like poof, pointing, directing towards the universe. Who knows? That happened. And then my brain itself started to vibrate. So I started to feel like my left side of the brain was completely like electric. Then it switched to the other side, the right side of the brain. And then the back of the head, right? Lower back of the brain. And it happened like three separate sections until all of a sudden, my entire brain, my entire head literally felt like I plugged it into an electric socket. I mean, it sounds so funny saying it out loud. And while I was experiencing it, I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. This feels so powerful. It's like, what I would read about or hear about when people talk about the third eye opening. And it truly is the connection to the universe. But the only way to get there is within you. So now I get that quote on a whole new level, right? Whole new level that the universe is inside you. With that said, I was able to get back to that place a lot more. And even since I've left the retreat as well, I can still get that buzzy feeling in my head where I just feel super connected to universe. And look, for those of you out there that are more religious or less religious, it's all good. Dr. Joe puts it in ways that is scientific. So you can call it universe, you can call it source, you can call it God, you could call it universal consciousness. Your beliefs can still be part of this kind of framework and teachings that I'm learning and so into right now. The other thing I'll say the third takeaway is that I love so much. Trust me, I have like so many takeaways that I'm still digesting. But the third main one I can talk about right now and point to is synchronicity. Synchronicity and serendipity is the language of the universe. I loved hearing Dr. Joe say that over and over again, and really to help us call that in through these deep meditations. And when I say meditations, we did sitting meditations, we did laying down meditations, we did walking meditations. There are all different types of meditations. If your mind is going, oh, my back is going to hurt or blah, 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 right? That's just your body. Those are your limiting thoughts. Try and get beyond that if this is something you want to check out. So synchronicity. Let's talk about it a little bit. I have a couple different stories to share quickly of synchronicities that have been happening ever since I started doing this work, but really during and since the retreat. Okay. So like I said, I'm only 3 weeks away, not even 2.5 weeks from the retreat ending. During the retreat, day 2 or 3, I think it was, Dr. Joe's talking about frequency, 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 how we can raise our frequency over and over using those words. And of course, we're at a meditation retreat. We're doing meditations, at least 3 throughout every single day, and 3 meditations meaning an hour and a half long, about, right? Each one. And I get a message on Instagram from a handle that has both of those words in it. I won't say what it is, but it's basically that. And I'm like, and they decide, these are folks that I haven't spoken to in years. They reach out to see if they could pitch this podcast, my podcast that you're listening to right now, to some of the major airlines in the world. Okay, for their in-flight, services. So look, I don't know where it'll land, but hey, that's pretty cool, right? The whole biohacking pop-up, that was another one that came up. The woman who reached out to me from 20 years ago. I mean, it's just insane. And how I even got to the retreat at the first place. I feel like I told this story in one of my last podcasts, so I don't want to overshare it. But essentially, the reason I got into that retreat, because it was sold out, was through a total synchronicity. A woman who heard me speaking, doing a keynote and sharing Dr. Joe's quote in it. She came up to me afterwards, says she knows him, works with him, is able to help me probably get off that waiting list and into the retreat. And boom, it happened so magically. So again, Dr. Joe says, like, this is how the universe talks to us when we're open to these things, when we're open to the unknown, right? Sitting in the void, sitting in the blackness, sitting in the darkness, and able to be open and receptive to this language. And honestly, that lesson, and again, I don't have the eloquency and my language around it yet, but that lesson made me cry so hard on, I think it was day 1 or 2, how for years I feel like I've just been trying to force outcomes, right? Force my way, force my goals, do all these things, do. And sometimes it gets really exhausting, and it could also be really frustrating when things don't work out for you, right? So in this kind of new way of being, in this new practice of going so deep into these meditations, is like, if maybe I can just be open to how the universe would like to send me that intention. So you have to go in with an intention, right? But it could be broad, like feelings, like how do you want to feel? If I want a successful business, what will that make me feel like? Will it feel like freedom? Will it feel like accomplishment? Will it feel joyful? Will I be able to feel generous and be able to share so much with so many people in my life? Those are the things that I really want. That's the end feeling. That's the end result. So if I go in with that intention versus, podcast being in the top 1%, selling 100,000 books, having a bestseller, right? These like typical kinds of goals that entrepreneurs like me have, it just felt felt more freeing. It felt so expansive. And it feels like there's tons of room for magic. So that's my takeaway for you is like, can you have these big, beautiful intentions for your life and set goals and leave room for the magic? That's just something. Whew. Okay. I also want to read right now someone else's takeaways. So some of my new friends, I asked them what their takeaways were and in our group chat. So I'm going to read some of them off right now. First of all, the first was, let's call her J. We have all four of us have J names. So JW says that really it was about being able to make friends there, like this type of friendships, these deep connected friendships, which I already covered and went through. JM says, my biggest takeaway is that there is so much more unknown than known, right? Which kind of points back to my last point about lingering in the unknown. I've been reflecting on that since my return, and it's added this little mysterious sparkle that I'm excited to explore. Woo, I love that. And then JU, so many J's, just wrote, as I'm on this podcast, so I'm just going to read it out. We are multidimensional beings in a multi-dimensional universe. Really landed in a whole new way, she said. I mean, again, I can go on and on about this multi-dimensions, the quantum field, things that really blew my mind, but I feel like I need to digest it a bit more before I start talking about it on the on the podcast. She also says, change the information in the field to change matter. So again, that was one of my biggest takeaways. Forcing matter with matter, forcing matter with matter. But if we can change the energy in the field, meaning the electromagnetic field that is most of this universe, right? Matter is just a tiny, tiny bit of the universe. The rest is this electromagnetic field, energy and vibration. And if we change that, then we can change matter and collapse time. So meaning we can attract things into our life much more quickly, much more easier, with ease, with grace than the old way of being and thinking, which is like forcing. Okay, so she said, quantum healing is a reality. We can influence the electromagnetic activity of the earth? Question mark explanation. I'm questioning why I don't spend all day long quantum healing. Yeah. I'm questioning the same. Like, how much time can I spend in this meditation all day long? And lastly, she says, wholeness equals connection and vice versa. Whenever I feel feelings of disconnection, I remind myself it is the illusion of disconnection, but the truth is in the fabric of quantum. We are all connected all the time. And that goes back to kind of that Rumi quote that I had. Do not feel lonely. The entire universe is within you. How powerful is that? If you made that your mantra, any time that you are feeling lonely or disconnected from people, from source, from God, from universe, just try that on. Go within, try on a meditation and connect. And then this last takeaway, this is my number 4 takeaway is, and it's a big doozy here. Again, still digesting all this here, but we can heal ourselves and we can heal other people too. During this retreat, 3 times we had the absolute privilege and honor to practice coherence healings, meaning there were selected about 300, I think, healees, they were called, the people with ailments that wanted to be healed. The rest of us, the healers, right? And we were obviously primed all week long leading up to this beautiful, magical moment where we entered this solemn, sacred room, about 7 to 8 people per healee. We meditated, we raised the collective frequency and energy of the entire room. It was so moving and so beautiful. And then we rubbed our hands together. We felt the energy, right? That is us, or 99.9999999% of us. And then we held our hands out towards the Heelys. It was the most profound experience of my life. And we got to do that 3 different times during the week. I still, like I said, don't have all the words to really explain it, the effect, etc. I know what you're thinking. Was anyone healed? Well, we might not know. Obviously, in the moment, people can have spontaneous healings in the moment, but also it could take time, right? It could take weeks, or people have to see their doctors, have to take tests, get results, etc. I did hear some rumblings from just conversations I was walking by. I will share one that I heard a woman say that all the negative effects of chemo she felt are gone from her body just in that one healing that we had. Well, maybe it was over 3, I don't know, but I heard her on the last day on the Friday where she shared that. And again, I didn't stop to talk to her, so I don't know what those negative effects of chemo were, but just imagine. And we got to hear testimonials of other folks who have had major healings in their life, both physical and mental and emotional. People with severe anxiety who don't have anxiety anymore. People that were depressed who no longer feel depressed. These are life-changing healings that can take place when we raise our vibration in a collective movement. If you'd like to hear any more about this work, go to Dr. Joe Dispenza's website. I think it's just drjoedispenza.com. Find out more, get involved, listen to he's on like all the big podcasts. Hey, Dr. Joe, I'd love to have you on this podcast if you're listening. I'm putting that out there as a possibility in the quantum field, and mark my words, folks, it'll happen. It'll be on here soon, I can bet. So with that said, I hope I gave you a little boost of badassery, because I want, even as someone who, like I said in the beginning, has read so many of the books and done so many of the seminars, blah, 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 there's still so much more to learn, right? There's so much more to embrace and to learn, and there's so much more unknown than known, which was one of the takeaways. So anything really is possible for you. Anything you're struggling with right now, there are many, many, many solutions. Let's stop being so narrow in our thinking that there's only one way out or there's no way out of our situation. Let's try on this idea that there are unlimited possibilities in the universe. And when we go within, when we connect with ourselves and our higher selves and the universe and God and all of it, that we will find the answers. I'm going to leave you with that, my friends. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast. Leave a review if you're willing. I'd love to hear it. Hit me up on Instagram at Jenn Cassetta. Send me a message if you'd like to go to the Montauk Retreat happening on October 10th through the 13th, 2024 in Montauk, New York. We are going to have so much fun and so many great discussions, especially if you're looking for connecting with people and having elevated conversations. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon.